Okay, so today we are going to be graphing the vertex form of a quadratic function. So this is our third and last form. We've already covered standard form and intercept form. Okay, so the vertex form actually gives us the vertex of the quadratic. That's why it's called the vertex form. Okay, so this one is written as a parentheses x minus h squared plus k. Now, I need you to understand something. Your vertex is h and k, but something very unusual happens. Again, that same problem that we had with intercept form where you have to solve to change signs is the same thing that's going on here. Notice this already has a minus. That means your sign is going to change every single time because, take a look, that's just plain h, but this is minus h, okay? So you are always going to change the sign of the piece that is inside the parentheses. All right, so let's take a look at an example. Okay, so y equals 2 times, that's your parentheses, x minus 3 squared minus 8. So my vertex in this case is 3, negative 8. I'm not changing the k. Notice that says k, that says plus k, same thing. I have to change the piece that's inside the parentheses. So my vertex is 3, negative 8. And I'm going to get the rest of my points by making a table just like I did for standard form. All right, so let's get going. Okay, so determine the vertex and graph the point, always first. We're going to go ahead and draw the axis of symmetry on this one just so we can make sure that our graph is nice and symmetric. It'll help us with our points when we're substituting them in. There's usually some issues like substituting in negatives, so I try to have everybody do the axis of symmetry on this. And then you're going to solve for more points by making a table of values. And the big thing on this, just like on standard form, is that you have to have numbers that are greater than and less than the vertex, specifically the x values. Okay, because you have to have some points that are on the left of the vertex and some that are on the right. So let's go ahead and start. All right, so y equals x minus 2 squared minus 1. So my vertex is 2, negative 1. Change the sign, keep it the same. So 2, negative 1. All right, there's my vertex, and I'm going to go ahead and draw my axis of symmetry through it so I know I have a nice symmetric line, or a nice symmetric graph. Okay, so I need some numbers that are to the left of my vertex and some numbers that are to the right. So I'm going to make a table of values. Now, you can do just like you did on standard form where you put your vertex in the middle of your table of values. That's fine. That lets you remember that you need to make numbers that are less than and greater than. So two numbers that are less than 2 would be 1 and 0. Two numbers that are greater than would be 3 and 4. And again, I'm going to do the same thing I did on standard form and just do stair steps. Now, when you're substituting these in, you can use a regular calculator if you like, or just remember your PEMDAS. You do what's in the parentheses, then the exponent, then the adding and subtracting on the end. So let's see. If I substitute in 0, I should get 0 minus 2 squared minus 1. Well, 0 minus 2 is negative 2, but if I square a negative, I'm going to get a positive. So that's really just 4 minus 1. So that should be 3. If you remember back from our standard form, you should be getting a symmetric set of numbers, which means if the 0 is 3, 0, 3, then over here at 4 should also be 3 because they should be symmetric. So let's try it and make sure. 4 minus 2 squared minus 1. Yep, that's 4 minus 1. That's 3. All right, substitute in 1. 1 minus 2 squared minus 1. All right, 1 minus 2 is negative 1. Negative 1 squared is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. So if I get 0 here, I should also get 0 here. So 1, 0, and 3, 0. Oh, and I forgot 4, 3. So we have our nice graph, and we're going to go ahead and put a good curve on it. And that is how you graph vertex form. So again, it's a lot like standard form where you're making the table, but this form gives you your vertex first, so you don't have to do the negative b over 2a. All right, let's try a couple more. Okay, so y equals negative 2 times x minus 3 squared plus 4. All right, so the vertex is 3. Don't forget to change the sign. 4. So 3, 4 is my vertex. And again, I'm going to draw my axis of symmetry going right through there so I can make sure my graph is nice and symmetric. Make my table of values. Okay, so 3, 4 is my middle point. Okay, so I need a couple of numbers that are less than and a couple of numbers that are greater than. So 2, 1 and 4, 5. And again, substitute them in. Let's see what we get. Don't forget to put the negative with the 2 in front of the parentheses when you're substituting it in. You have to put the whole thing in. Should look like this if you're putting it in the calculator. And if you're doing it by hand, remember parentheses, exponents, multiplication, addition as far as your order. So 1 minus 3 is negative 2. Negative 2 squared is 4. So this is negative 2 times 4 plus 4. So negative 2 times 4 is negative 8, plus 4 is negative 4. So both of those should be at negative 4. 2, 3, 4, and 5, negative 4. Okay. And now let's substitute in 2. Negative 2 times 2 minus 3 squared plus 4. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. If you square it, it becomes positive 1. So times negative 2. So negative 2 times 1 plus 4. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2 plus 4 is positive 2. So 2, 2 and 4, 2. There we go. And then we're going to draw our curve like normal from left to right. Okay. And our graph is going down this time. All right, one more. Okay, so we have y equals 3 times x minus 1 squared minus 6. And the vertex is 1, negative 6. Again, don't forget to change your sign. Let's go ahead and graph that and make our table. So 1, negative 6. And then my axis is symmetry, going all the way through that. All right. So 1, negative 6 is our middle point. There we go. 1, negative 6. And let's see, 0, negative 1 are 2 less, and 2 and 3 are 2 more. All right, let's go ahead and substitute those in and see what we get. Okay, so 3, negative 1 minus 1 squared minus 6. Now be careful and make sure you're simplifying what's in the parentheses correctly. Negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2. And if I square that, I'm going to get 4. So this is really 3 times 4 minus 6. That's 12 minus 6. So that is positive 6. So negative 1, positive 6, and 3, positive 6. And again, you see that nice symmetry around your axis. All right, so let's substitute in 0. 3 times 0 minus 1 squared minus 6. 0 minus 1 is negative 1, and when you square it, it becomes positive. So this is just 3 times 1 minus 6. And 3 minus 6 should be negative 3 on both of those. So 0, negative 3, and 2, negative 3. And we have that nice symmetric curve. See, same points on both sides. And that's it. That is graphing from vertex form. And next video will be graphing and describing from vertex form and then doing some solving. So see you next time.